We'll start our today's morning session. This is on Research Designs Part 1. Here we'll learn meaning of research design, purpose of research, exploratory research design, descriptive research design, and explanatory research design.
That's the mouse.
Oh, sir?
Oh, yes, sir. You look here. Where is the position? This is it.
Click करना.
Yeah, that's right. This is the next. Yes, look at the screen, sir.
Oh,
This is the next one.
okay.
Yes.
Huh. Yeah.
Next. Yes, it's the
Okay. Yeah. Learning objectives of this session are to introduce a broad range of research designs used in social science research. It would help you to select appropriate research designs on the basis of their relative merits and limitations in undertaking research studies. The term research designs refers to the overall strategy that you choose to conduct the study in a coherent and logical way. It ensures you to address the research problem effectively. It is the blueprint of the research study. Although research designs may be classified by many criteria, the most useful one concerns the major purpose of the research study, because research designs are closely linked with the purpose or objectives of a research study problem. The purposes of social research may be clubbed into three groups based on what the researcher is trying to accomplish: explore a new topic, describe a social phenomenon, or explain why something occurs. Thus, three of the most common and useful purposes of research are exploration, description, explanation. A research study can have more than one of these purposes. Even then, it will be useful to examine them separately, because each has different implications for other aspects of research design. On the basis of purposes of research, we may identify the broad classes of research designs. 1. Exploratory research designs. 2. Descriptive research designs. 3. Causal research designs. Exploratory research designs. When we select a research problem about which nothing is known or little is known, the purpose of research is exploration. The research design to explore new perspective of a problem is called exploratory research design. Exploratory research studies are very valuable in social scientific research. They are essential whenever a researcher is breaking new ground, and they can always yield new insights into a topic for research. The researcher conducts the exploratory study to get familiarity with the topic, and he or she is likely to undertake a full-fledged study later. For example, if a social researcher wishes to know about implications of genetics, it has to be exploratory study. The purpose of the research study may be to explore if DNA affects the personality of individuals. How do genetics impact a person's temperament and personality? The purpose of the study would be to understand the role our genes play in determining who we are and how we act. Imagine 3 children. Child 1 is easygoing and quiet. Child 2 is very demanding and vocal. Child 3 is inquisitive and restless. Each child seems to have a unique personality. Why is this? The immediate answer to this question is that our personalities may have a genetic component. However, this does not mean that we are born with our personality and nothing else is involved. And exploratory research will help to gain an understanding of the role that genes play in determining our personality. Exploratory studies often starts with collecting information through case histories, observations, focus group discussions, and interviews. Based on the information, interview guide or interview schedule is prepared and used as a tool of data collection in exploratory research studies. Since exploratory research design is adopted to study a research problem which is not known or little known about the research problem, exploratory studies do not have hypotheses. Because we do not have theories which can throw some light on the research problem, even we do not find presumptions with logical reasoning. That is the reason exploratory research studies do not have hypotheses. The results of exploratory research are inconclusive, but they can provide significant insight into a given topic of research. The results of exploratory research are inconclusive but they can provide significant insight. The conclusions of exploratory research are presented using probabilistic terms like may, might, likely, etc. Exploratory research is not generalizable to the population from which the sample for the study was drawn. We'll have a little pause here to know whether you have understood the first type of research designs, exploratory research. If you have a doubt or a question, you can type.
We can adjust the videos a little bit.
Okay.
In the meantime. Check that out.
Yeah. Now there is one question.
Can we say exploratory research is qualitative research?
Yeah. Can I answer?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Rashid.
Rashid,
Yeah. Yes, Rashid. To some extent, we can call it a qualitative research, but truly speaking, qualitative research has very distinct purpose. If you remember our first session, I have mentioned the purpose of qualitative research is to understand the phenomena. Keeping in mind that, now if you come back to exploratory research, the purpose is to explore the problem, to get some insight, to get some familiarity, so that we can conduct specific study on the problem. I hope you got the point.
Another question is that do we always start with an exploratory research and then go for descriptive or causal research?
No, it's not like that. These are three distinct designs, and as a researcher, you have to consider your problem and the purpose of your problem and decide which research design you want to formulate. It cannot be all the three together. I hope it's clear.
Some more people typing, some people wait for that question.
Yeah, yes.
It's clear for other people.
Yeah.
Why do we not use hypothesis for this research?
Yeah. I have just explained. Again, I will repeat. We formulate exploratory research when we don't know about the problem. You have to just keep in mind this. We do not know about the problem, or we know just little bit about a problem. Then only we go for exploratory research. That is the reason we cannot formulate hypothesis. We formulate hypothesis once we know about the problem. exclusively when we have theories. The problem which we take for exploratory is not known much. So we do not have theories. Even we don't have presumptions. That's why we rule out the possibility of formulating hypotheses in exploratory research. Well, what we conclude in exploratory research, some researchers consider it as a theory and they call it a grounded theory. So exploratory research is also called as hypothesis generating research. It generates the hypothesis. The findings are in the form of hypothesis, you can say. Likely, maybe, inconclusive. So it's in the form of hypothesis. Clear? Any other question?
Yes, sir, one more question is if we want to study the effect of one independent variable on the dependent variable, what kind of study will we will undertake?
Now, first of all, you have to wait for some more time. When I explain the descriptive research and explanatory research or causal research, then again you ask this question and I will answer you.
Is it used for new problem or existing problem?
It's absolutely for new problem. Just like I've given you example, hardly there is a study on the effect of genetics on our personality. How DNA is responsible for a particular type of personality is a very new topic, and if the research is conducted, it has to be exploratory research.
Okay, so move on. This is another question.
Okay, move to second type of research design. We call it descriptive research design. Major purpose of many research study is to describe situations and events. Scientific observations are careful and deliberate. The researchers observe and then describes. When the purpose of our research study is description, we formulate descriptive research design. Descriptive research design is formulated when we have already some knowledge about a problem and we wish to know more about it. That is, we have theories and assumptions which explains the research problem. As such, descriptive research studies must have hypotheses. For example, we already know about factors which affect life satisfaction of elderly, and we wish to know more about it. Say, for example, we wish to know which factor affects the most and how it is associated with other factors. We need to formulate descriptive research design. Therefore, the focus of the research study would be on identifying and describing the factors which affect life satisfaction of elderly. Identifying and describing the most important factor which affect life satisfaction of elderly and describing how it is associated with the satisfaction of elderly, etc. The results of descriptive research studies are conclusive and generalizable. Now we have completed the second type of research design. You can ask question if you have.
Sir, when we talk about empirical data,
Yeah.
so what I think from my knowledge is that empirical data is anything that extracted through surveys or through questionnaires or anything that a researcher studies or extracts from its subject of study.
Now, empirical data is when you develop the instrument and you collect the data from the field. True meaning of empirical study.
Okay. So when the combination of exploratory and empirical comes up, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's a exploratory research design using the empirical method of research, collecting data.
Sometimes it is very confusing, sir. Like which type of study is that? Most of the studies at the PhD levels are when we collect data with questionnaire. So all of them are ultimately empirical study, right? So,
Yeah, I think except when you have some library studies, you just take the reports, books and all, that's called, say, content analysis and all. They are not empirical. Yeah.
descriptive research is only study of quantitative data.
Yes, it is primarily quantitative research, but in the qualitative research also some research educators have mentioned that they can also have descriptive research design in qualitative research, but it's not very popular. It's only in descriptive is only popular in quantitative research.
So no more question. I think we can move on.
Move forward, right? Now, Saifullah Khalid. Now, your question this moment that you said if one independent effect of one independent variable on another could be a descriptive study. But I would suggest you to still wait to see the third type of research design, and then it would be right to decide which research design you should follow. Is it okay, Saifullah? Yes, okay. Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Third type of research design, now we are proceeding. We call it explanatory research design. The third general purpose of research studies is to explain the situation and events. When we have a problem that is already known and have description of it, we may like to know why things are the way they are. So the purpose of explanatory research studies is to explain why. When the purpose of a research study is to explain why, we formulate explanatory research design. In descriptive research studies, we identify and describe the most important factor which affect life satisfaction. Say, for example, we have identified social support as the most important factor which affect life satisfaction. Now, if we would proceed further and wish to explain why and how social support affect life satisfaction of elderly, we would have to formulate explanatory research design. The explanation of why and how is commonly known as causal relationship or cause-effect relationship. Before I proceed further, I would just wait for a minute or two to know whether you have understood the concept of explanatory research design. You can type yes, okay, or if there is a doubt, you can just question.
So it was interesting to see some questions that came up over this weekend, in the last week, related to this also. I think Mr. asked for a question if his study was exploratory or not.
Pardon me? The question from that? Oh, no, just yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. So, is it okay? You have understood explanatory research designs concept?
Yes, nobody has it.
Right. So we will proceed a little further. Now, before we learn more about explanatory research design, we have to understand causal or cause-effect relationship or causal inference. These are the concepts we have to understand first.
So another question is, if the hypothesis is income is associated with satisfaction, what kind of study will it come under?
Descriptive studies, certainly. It's a descriptive study. But if you want to find out why income affects life satisfaction, the reason about this, then you will be entering into third, that is the explanatory research.
So that could be part of the research, sir. In that case, what we should do?
It depends on researcher. Suppose you want to focus on describing relationship, you can describe and conclude. But if you want to go further, then you can take up some of the relationship which you have established and then go further to find out if they are related. Then it becomes explanatory research design. It's not necessary that all descriptive will also have the explanation of why.
Okay.
Now, two terms, namely correlation and causality.
Sorry, sir, one more question.
Yeah.
Do we formulate hypothesis in explanatory research also?
Yes, we have to formulate. Yeah. Two terms, namely correlation and causality, are used in drawing causal inference. So we'll try to understand this very clearly. What is the logic of causal inference? The two terms, I will make it very clear. Now, first is correlation. Two variables changes together. We call it correlation. X changes, Y also changes. The second concept is causality. Means variable X causes the effect Y. This is what we also call it cause-effect relationship. many researchers, particularly the young newcomers, they confuse with this too. Many times they take correlation as causality. Remember, correlation is not causality. Let us take example to understand correlation first.
This is the example, sir, of someone else.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the example. Now I'm taking up some studies conducted in US, a research institute, a famous research institute in California. The research department conducted a study on smoking behavior and performance of a student. I mean, academic performance of the students. So here you can see S represents smoking, G grades. The study was conducted and they found that it is the grade which is the cause for smoking behavior. Grade, or you can say academic performance, leads to smoking behavior. That was the finding of the study. The logic they found that depending on the performance, students take up smoking behavior. Further, they explained that particularly those who perform badly in academics, they have disappointment, frustration, so they are likely to become smokers, more likely to become smokers. To get rid of disappointment and frustration. The dean of the research institute was not satisfied with this research finding. He again sponsored the similar research with other team. They conducted again with the same sample in the university. Finding of the second team was just reverse. The second research study said, no, it is a smoking behavior which affects the academic performance. And the logic given by the second team of research was, smoking contains some nicotine which affects our brain cells, and the students, while writing exams, they failed to coordinate. The cells failed to coordinate, so they perform badly. The dean of the institute was very much shocked because they say, how scientific research can have two contradicting results? Same instrument, same sample, but totally contradicting results. This was the eye-opening fact in research, and the dean was again not satisfied with this same situation, and he sponsored a third team, similar research, and this time he advised the team to take up one more variable, emotional status, into consideration. That was his doubt, that there must be a third factor, because it's not possible that controversial results, smoking leads to performance or performance leads to smoking, which is correct. So he said, okay, he also take up emotional status, that's called third variable. And now the findings were totally different, contradicting first two findings. Third research study found it is the emotional status which leads to or may lead to smoking, or it may affect the academic performance. Emotional status means how you are mentally prepared, whether you are balanced. If you are balanced, your performance is going to be definitely good. If you are not emotionally balanced, if you are emotionally disturbed, you are more likely to join smokers club. And relationship between smoking and grade is there, but basically it is the third factor which affects both the initial factors. Now from these research studies, a new chapter was included in the research, in explanatory research, which said that we must investigate for third variable whenever we find the two variables are associated. Because sometimes the relationship between two may be spurious, not genuine. And the researcher named Lazarus, who was in the team, postulated this conditions of causality. He said we can establish cause-effect relationship only the following conditions are satisfied. He said two variables are said to be causally related. One, there is an empirical correlation between them. Means X and Y are correlated. That is condition one. The second condition is very important. It says that the relationship is not found to be the result of the effect of some third variable on each of the two initially observed. And third, the cause precedes the effect in time. In most of the case, it's inbuilt, but in some case, you have to be a little careful. So, and also you find out correlation in almost all the researches. So the second condition is very important. That is, if you want to prove cause-effect relationship, you should also examine that the two variables are not affected by a third variable. That's the job of researcher, to identify the third variable and find out the relationship between X and Y is spurious or non-spurious, genuine or ingenuine. I'll just stop it here to just know that whether all you have followed this cause-effect relationship.
It was a very interesting example, sir.
Good.
Another question is, can we say correlation for descriptive and causal for explanatory?
Not like that, but in descriptive, we use correlation and we stop it. We find the correlation and stop it. But in explanatory research, we have to go further to examine the cause-effect relationship.
But how to find out the third variable? Is it through observation, literature review?
It's very easy. Who is asking this question?
Ikram.
Ikram. Saida Ikram. It's very easy, Saida. When you conduct your research, you have set of variables in your study and you collect data for a group of variables. So once you get the correlation between those variables, set of say 5, 6 and 10 variables, you can pick up the variables which are having significant relations. And then those variables can be used as a third variable. I think I have got example in the subsequent slides. I'll show you. So in the collecting data itself, we get number of variables which will serve as a third variable.
Dr. Nikhil, can you explain a bit more?
Yeah, we are going to explain. There are still 10-15 slides are there.
We'll talk about it in detail more.
Yes.
Is there any other question? Anybody before we proceed? We shall move.
Yeah, we shall move. Okay. Causal relationship or cause-effect relationship is examined either through survey research or through experimental research. I mean, collection of data can be through survey or by conducting experiment. We'll take up first survey research. In survey research design, we study a sample of respondents and wish to generalize the findings to the population. In survey research, we examine cause-effect relationship among variables by statistical methods. The researcher begins with the idea there might be relationship among variables. She or he then measures variables from a sample of respondents and examines if there is a cause-effect relationship. Variables are measured through answers to questions about self-reported beliefs, perception, attitude, or behaviors. I'm elaborating now causal inference or cause-effect relationship. Suppose we have found that there is a correlation between sex and life satisfaction. However, it is also observed that other two variables, namely education and socio-economic status, are also associated with life satisfaction.
So there's a request to go back to the previous slide. Just
Okay.
a couple of them.
How to go previous?
It's the previous one, sir.
Okay. This side, right. Yeah. This slide?
Just keep it short. Maybe you can talk a little bit and follow.
Yeah. This slide?
Yes, sir. You can take it from here.
Okay. Now, I'm just describing the survey design, means we can examine cause-effect relationship by using survey method. In survey research, we study a sample of respondents and wish to generalize the findings to the population. In survey research, we examine cause-effect relationship among variables by statistical methods. The researcher begins with the idea that there might be relationship among variables. He or she then measures variable from a sample of respondents and examines if there is a cause-effect relationship. Variables are measured through answers to questions about self-reported beliefs, perception, attitude, or behaviors. Now the example is, suppose we have found that there is a correlation between sex and life satisfaction. However, it is also observed that other two variables, namely education and socio-economic status, are also associated with life satisfaction. To establish cause-effect relationship between sex and life satisfaction, we have to re-examine the bivariate association between sex and life satisfaction to see if it is not due to either education or socio-economic status. The condition, second condition of causality, we are going to examine. Is it clear? Participants, you can let me know. Okay. Okay. Now we'll move. Controlling the effect of third variable. To examine if the bivariate relationship between sex and life satisfaction is not due to either education or socio-economic status, we have to re-examine this bivariate association by controlling the effect of education and socio-economic status. To control the effect of third variable, to prepare two trivariate tables. One, sex and life satisfaction, controlling the effect of education, and second table will be sex and life satisfaction, controlling the effect of socio-economic status. If the association between sex and life satisfaction is not affected by income and socio-economic status, we infer that there is cause-effect relationship between sex and life satisfaction. The condition is fulfilled. Yes? If you have understood this, yes.
Dr. Nikhil, if you can tell which specific slide you would like repeated.
Yeah, move. Now, summing up. So far, what all we have learned, I'll just sum up. Research design is the blueprint for the research study. Three of the most common and useful purposes of research are exploration, description, and explanation. When you select a research problem about which nothing is known or little is known, we formulate exploratory research design. When the purpose of our research study is descriptive research design. When the purpose of a research study is to explain why, we formulate explanatory research design. When two variables changes together, we call it correlation, whereas when a variable x causes the effect y, we call it cause-effect relationship. These are some of the frequently asked questions. Why it is necessary to choose an appropriate research design? Why exploratory research studies do not have hypotheses? Why it is necessary to have hypothesis in descriptive research design? Now you can see the answers. Because an appropriate research design ensures researcher to address the research problem effectively. Second, in exploratory research, we cannot have hypotheses because there is neither a theory nor presumptions which can throw some light on the research problem, because in descriptive research we have theories and assumption which explains the research problem in descriptive research. Now it's open for your questions on the complete session. Then we'll go for the quiz.
Yes.
Right. Yes, participants. It's open now. You can start from very beginning and come to our desk. We have enough time. You can ask questions.
Would you like some water?
No, it's okay. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, is it important to mention in the thesis which type of research is it? Because the person who is reading it would know it. To mention what type of research and
Yeah, it is better. It gets the reader, your examiner, will understand your focus of the study. Just reading your research design, and it also gives you a guideline, how you are going to proceed. If it is a descriptive, you can stop at correlation. If it is explanatory, if you are saying in the beginning that my research study will be explanatory, definitely as an examiner, I will understand that you are going to establish cause-effect relationship. So we think it is necessary.
there's a request to repeat causality study due to technical problems.
Causality conditions or what? What is the question?
Causality study slide, I guess.
Causality study. So we'll go back. We'll see which one. From where we started causality.
Yes, sir, I can take it.
Okay, we'll go back. No problem.
How do we find which research design is suitable for my study, sir?
By your purpose of research, you have to think over it and decide that what is your purpose. Now, I'll give you one example. See, from our day-to-day life, you want to construct a house. So you cannot just go on buying bricks, cement, iron rods. Will you do that? No. First, you have to decide what purpose you want to construct house. Would it be a residential, commercial, school building? Because these different purposes call for different kind of blueprint, layout. If it is residential, you will have drawing room, attached bathroom, bedroom. If it is a commercial, you don't need drawing room, you don't need sit outs and all. Similar is the case with the researches. So you have to decide that for what is your purpose of conducting research. Your purpose will determine type of research.
Dr. Nikhil wanted to create correlation and causality, that part.
Yeah. This is from where we started, you know. First, you have to understand what is correlation, because many people are confused with correlation and causality. So the first is correlation. Correlation is nothing but relation between saying that X changes, Y also will change. That is a correlation. An example I've given you that correlation is established between academic performance, grade, and smoking behavior. This is called correlation. Two variables, you examine the relation. But as in the study, controversial results came. So the third studies included the third variable, see here, emotional status. And then it was explained that it is the emotional status which affects the smoking behavior. And also emotional status affects the academic performance. So it is the third variable which affects the relationship which was shown earlier. And then this is the condition of causality, that there should be empirical correlation. That is always you have. The second is very important. And it says that you have to prove the relationship is not found to be the result of the effect of some third variables on each of the study observed. And third is basically inbuilt. And this I have shown you with the example of sex and life satisfaction correlation. Then we introduced third variable, social support and socio-cultural status. And we said that sex and life satisfaction correlation is not affected by education and socio-economic status. Now we can say that there is a cause-effect relationship between sex and life satisfaction. I hope it's clear.
Okay, sir. Another question is, sir, please explain in brief about difference between descriptive and causal research. One more time, please. Give an example of hypothesis for respective research design.
Yeah. Descriptive to describe the relation between two variables. We stop there. We say that X and Y are correlated, or X and Y are different. This is what we call descriptive, describing the relationship. Many times it is also called as correlational studies. Is it clear? Descriptive research is clear?
Now, causal.
Yeah. Now, causal, cause-effect relation or explanatory research we call, where we establish cause-effect relationship. Just finding correlation is not enough. That means it's a step further from descriptive. In descriptive, you stop after examining the correlation or difference. In the explanatory research or causal research, we try to establish cause-effect relationship. That is, third variable comes into the picture, or bivariate correlation which you have found have to be re-examined by introducing third variable. And if you find that third variable has no effect on the bivariate relationship, then we say that there is a cause-effect relationship between X and Y. When you do this exercise, your research becomes causal research.
What would be the example of causal research? A hypothesis example.
We take generally causal researches, we take complex hypothesis. Can you recall complex means we have more than one independent variable and we want to see the effect on the dependent variable. And in the example I have just explained you, sex, education and socio-economic status are three independent variables and life satisfaction is dependent variable. So the complex hypothesis would be for explanatory research or causal research, sex, education, socio-economic status do not affect life satisfaction. Null hypothesis. Or in one sentence, one word you can say, demographic variables do not affect life satisfaction as a null hypothesis. This type of hypothesis we take in the explanatory research.
So, a question from Rukmini is, can we, sorry, can we stop the descriptive research by explain the relation among variables?
Yes, yes, it's correct. I mean, we can stop it here, but if you go little deep into the research work, now this is not very much welcome in the field of research. Researchers say that it's not enough just to say that they are correlated. And that is the reason I'll tell you in all the universities in developed countries, no more descriptive research, they say. There is only explanatory research. Today you don't find. Our case is just opposite. Almost all the researches we are descriptive. Hardly people take up explanatory research. I hope all the participants here today will think of taking up explanatory research. SPSS, which we are going to learn sometime, helps you to do this exercise very, very quickly, very fast. Once you collect the data, enter into SPSS, testing the effect of third variable matter of few seconds. So nowadays, it's always advised that we should go for explanatory until unless you explain why X and Y are correlated. It's not complete research. It looks, some critics of the research say that it's a half-baked research. Descriptive researches are half-baked research. Means you have done the 50% work. And in the developed countries, quality of research, they are very, very keen to have quality research. Descriptive research are allowed only at the master degree level dissertation, not for PhD or higher level. For undergraduate and postgraduate, they say descriptive.
When we see the phenomenon, whether it exists or not, what does that come under?
When we see the phenomenon.
Phenomenon, when we are researching, the topic of the research is some phenomenon.
Okay.
Which research does that come under?
It can come under any research design, depending upon how you are going to explain the phenomenon. Say domestic violence, for example, is a social phenomenon. Now, as a researcher, you can take up descriptive or you can take up explanatory research.
Why do you think that descriptive is half-baked, sir? Why do you think that? And why it should not be taken further, especially?
Yeah, because of simple reason that it's not a complete answer when you say that X and Y are related. Social support and life satisfaction are related.
So what? The other question is, so what?
And how? Why? The immediate question will come. Why it is like that? So it's considered a half. Stop at saying that social support affects life satisfaction. You have explained only half. The major question is that how you can say that Social support effect life satisfaction.
So there's a very known effect. One research is very much famous, which ran for about 3 decades. For about a century or so, it was one of the TED talks, where the scientist, and there were 3 directors, and it was done on 3 generations. It was on happiness, and that got attention of a lot of people. But the conclusion of that research was that the happier the people are, if you're happy, that means the relationship is better. So your happiness depends on your relationship. That research, I think, is a descriptive research.
Descriptive research.
But it doesn't say that why relationship is the only cause for happiness.
Happiness. Yeah.
But that is one of the renowned study of.
Yeah. I'd say most of the researchers, they are very much inclined to do the descriptive research.
Another research that I did, sir, it was about social media. People, when they use social media, there are some hormones, and they feel happy about scrolling through their screen.
Yeah.
And they feel happy about the likes and the comments that they get on their photographs and videos.
That's right.
So the alcoholics, when some people take alcohol, then the stress that they have got, that gets suppressed for time being, and the same happens again, which is being gotten by the person who serves the social media.
Yeah.
So he was relating that addiction in both the sides.
Yeah.
Somebody is addicted
Yes.
towards social media, another person is towards the
Addicted
alcohol.
to alcohol.
And then this is the descriptive research.
Yeah.
But he went further. Why it happens? What happens?
Yeah.
What kind of chemical changes
Change
happens?
in the happen. Yes.
And then he finds out that that some hormones towards alcohol are the same hormones that we have towards social media.
Yes. That's the explanatory research.
That's the explanatory research.
Right.
Okay.
Fine.
That was interesting. I was
Yes.
in this part of mentioning.
Yes.
A few more questions are there.
Yeah.
So refresh the screen once. So that we can find more questions here.
How to?
I'll give you some.
Okay. Right.
Mine should be refreshed here.
Yeah.
From Dr. Nikhil, sir, to establish causality or explanatory research, which test we need to apply for hypothesis testing?
No, it depends on the type of data, Nikhil. If you have numeric data, you can go for Pearson correlation, and what we call partial correlation, you can go for that. Or if you have categorical data, then you can go for like chi-square, and you can apply on chi-square on partial tables. Numeric also you can go for, t-test. Depends on the type of data, what type of data you get, and accordingly you can have the statistical test.
Rukmini is asking the question, sir. Depth means we should go for explanatory and giving solutions, or explaining how to overcome it.
No, explanatory research I am talking about, not explaining in depth. Researchers' job is to use the explanatory research design to technique. Then you can give explanation. Just giving explanation does not serve any purpose in research.
Some people are typing questions.
Yeah, okay.
For liquid scale, which statistical techniques can be used from Samara?
Yeah. We'll be dealing with this Likert scale on, I think, 30th. On 30th, Saturday, we have a session on it, measurements and scaling techniques. I'll explain you about the Likerts. Yeah. Another question is from Hanuman Rao.
Yeah.
Best sample size for infinite population. Tomorrow is our session on sampling. I think your question will be answered tomorrow afternoon.
Raw's question is being answered. So first on 31st and another one on Sunday.
Yeah.
But tomorrow's session is very interesting, sir. Many people are stuck in the sample size and determination of sample size.
So
We
tomorrow
already have started getting questions on that.
yeah. Keep your questions pending for tomorrow's session.
Shall we move on to the quiz, sir?
Yeah, we can.
Participants, if you don't have questions, that means you can answer questions. So let's see if you can answer questions.
We'll put questions now. Yeah.
Questions are on your screen. Please answer them, all of you. Your first question was on fill in the blanks, sir.
Yeah.
So I separated it and made it in multiple choice.
Okay.
Just for the sake of fitting it into the screen.
Yeah, purpose of research is that. Yeah. Yeah. Most of them have answered, correct. There is one question from Nikhil. Brief recap of life satisfaction and sex. There is a question. Nikhil. This is answered now. Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead and answer.
Yeah.
A brief recap of life satisfaction.
Yeah, I'll do that. First, let us finish this quiz.
So you will answer, sir.
Finished.
7 out of 16.
I've answered. Second question. Results of exploratory research are inconclusive. Correct. The results of descriptive research are conclusive. Correct. You cannot generalize the findings of exploratory. True. Correct. One of the conditions of causality is cause precedes the effect in time. Correct.
Any questions on questions?
Will answer that, Nikhil?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Now, I'll answer your question, Dr. Nikhil. Study on, life satisfaction of elderly. One independent variable was the sex, male and female. And the question was whether the sex, that is gender, of elderly people is the cause for their life satisfaction as an effect. Now, to establish cause-effect relationship or you can say to establish whether the gender is the cause and life satisfaction is the effect. In other words, you can say, can we women are more satisfied than men? To examine this, we selected two more variables, education and income, which has been found as they are also correlated with life satisfaction. So introduce first income, education as the third variable, and we found that education has no effect on the original bivariate association, that is sex and life satisfaction. Irrespective of income level, we found that, say, for example, men are more satisfied life satisfaction than women. A similar case was also with the socio-economic status. When we introduced socio-economic status as third variable, we also found that it does not affect the life satisfaction. That means whether a person is from high socio-economic status or low, it does not matter at all when we talk about life satisfaction. So it is basically the gender, the sex. That's it. Whether male or female, it explains the level of life satisfaction. I hope it's clear, Dr. Nikhil.
So we have to correlate two variables separately. Please follow up question.
Yeah, we have to see first correlation between two. A set of two variables, we have to examine correlation. Once we find that set of variables have correlations, then we proceed further for establishing cause-effect relationship by taking one of the variable as a third variable, and we come to the final conclusion. Is it done?
Some more questions are coming.
Okay.
What are you going to study, learn in the afternoon session, sir? Just brief of that so that we will be...
Yeah, we'll learn more about explanatory research, that is experimental research, in the afternoon session.
What is the diagnostic research, sir? Please explain.
Earlier times, if you take up the research books, there were a number of such research design classification. But today, they are all considered as descriptive research, diagnostic research and all. There are a number of other, researches which comes under that descriptive research.
Dr. Nikhil thought it was sex life, not like
no.
sex and life.
No, sex is gender. You can say the gender.
Gender
okay,
life.
Gender.
That's why he had confused.
Okay. It's yeah. I had some doubt. Yeah.
So, but I personally find that every type of research that you explained here, some way or the other, it is very confusing. It is, one can say that one can say and prove it that my research is exploratory, my research is descriptive. in that case, it is very confusing. Even when we try iteration, colloquium, or our presentation in PhD, find out it becomes a debate. Then.
Yeah, no, that's one thing which you have to keep in mind, that there is no straight jacket, classification. So there is very thin line, between the different research designs. But it's always advised, to explain that what is your research design. It helps the reader, examiner, to understand what will be the flow of your research. Even though you are confused, it's okay, no problem, because I told you that there is no straight jacket rule for different kind of research. We cannot. So they are overlapping areas and all those things. But the whole idea of research design is that you should be focused. Researcher is focused, that whether he is going to do the research on descriptive research design or explanatory research design.
So in survey research, shall I have to formulate questions related to variables and the analyzing effect of those variables? Is it right, sir? Rukmini is asking.
No, Rukmini, generally we say about the formulation of question, but it's always better to take up the standardized scales. Or if you want to construct your own instrument, you can, but it should be the scale, standardized scale. Then only you can measure the variable and put into the testing of hypothesis. Just formulating few questions may not help you to measure. Is it clear?
So research design is part of research methodology.
Yeah.
And will then be sample size determination.
Everything, everything will come, because now we are taking different sessions. Okay. So we have not touched in this. But in the research methodology, you have to explain everything. Sampling, your questionnaire, tools of data collection, measurement, everything will come.
When we talk about, sir, instrument refinement, when we refine any particular instrument, should be refined if we are taking some standard instrument?
Now, can you repeat again?
I'm asking if our research requires a standard instrument to be used, and if we want to localize it for our geography or to customize it for our need, how much of that can be customized, and what is the impact on validity?
Yeah. So there are certain conventions. We say that one must restrict the modification up to 30%. 30%. Yeah, up to in 10 items you can have 3 modifications.
Modification means removing the question or altering the question?
Modification means altering the questions. Reading the questions needs again reliability testing. You have to go to the field reliability testing.
So if a questionnaire contains 10 questions and I only need 7, so the original reliability of the question is again affected anyway.
Affected. Reliability will be affected. Validity will be affected. So we don't advise for removing the questions, replacing the questions. We say you can modify the questions up to 30%, not all, many.
But what if it doesn't serve the purpose, sir? Like my study contains 3, there were 5 variables that was tested in that instrument, but I need 3 of them. Then the whole validity gets questioned.
No, generally, when a scale is established, is standardized, a lot of precautions are taken, and where you don't find, in my experience, I'll tell you that many instruments I have used, I hardly found any kind of modification in one of the items.
But what if you needed more questions to be added? Or
that also is not advisable. If you add more questions, again, you should go for validity and reliability testing.
So that's a tedious. To get confined to that
questionnaire.
But
yes.
Then by that time we have already gone so far, and then if we see that there's no reliable questionnaires for that, then we have to cut off some of the part of the research.
No. See, when you are selecting a scale, you have to be very careful. You examine, go for its own, pilot testing, go for 1 or 2, and then you select. So once you select the right instrument, that problem will never come. You will get all the data for your research work.
So you mentioned pilot testing.
Ah.
So does that again has some standard rule? How many?
Yeah. Rule is that you have to go for something beyond, say 130, 150 like that, minimum. More is better. 200 if you go, it's better.
Anumantara questions is how many hypotheses need to be tested in any research article?
there is nothing, no rule like that, Hanmantra. It depends on your research study. Basically, I'll give you a small hint that it depends on your research questions. How many research questions you have proposed? So at least one hypothesis for one research question we say. So if you have 5 research questions, 5 hypotheses is the minimum.
Okay. And the objective, sir? That's an overall.
Objective is there maybe any number depending upon, because one research question may need 2-3 objectives to get the data for the research question. So we have maybe 10
So research question leads to objectives.
And then hypothesis.
And then hypothesis.
Yes.
Could come from either research question or objective.
Yeah, 2 objectives can form one hypothesis.
Okay.
Like that.
So do we have anything in this session how to write our reports, our research?
No, we do not have. There could be 2-3 sessions on writing report. We can have a module and we can have 3-4 sessions, because it's a big area. A lot of things one has to learn. Reporting. Many old research books they don't talk about it, but the latest research books have enough discussion on writing research reports.
Someone was asking a very, I would say, silly question. How many pages should an MPhil have, and how many pages should a PhD?
Yeah, and it's something in many universities I have inquired, and I have found that they have got a kind of very stupid, formulation. They have formulated rules, in some of the university I have found that it is very official. They have found that, say, 100 pages for MA dissertation and 200 for MPhil and 300 for PhD. Something like that. But it's very stupid. Never think of that. It depends, how you are going to explain. It could be 130 pages, it could be 210 pages. It depends that how you are explaining your hypothesis, your data. This is. So there is no question of research. The universities where these kind of stipulations are there, I have pointed out, I do not know how far it's going to do, but it's a very ridiculous, we cannot.
So sometimes we find that after analysis, we may realize that there are several things that we can now take from our survey or from result, and then go back to hypothesis and research question and put those in. How far is that allowed in a research?
No, that's very true. Actually, research is a cyclic process. In the first session, we said, and every research leads to a new research.
Yes.
So far, it's your concern. No, you have to stop at one project. Then you can do it for the postdoctoral fellowship. You can do it for the research papers. That research can be continued for a research paper publications.
So I was talking about specific. Suppose I tested something with 4 variables, and I found out that if 3 are taken off, then with the same data I can play around and find so many things. So how much advisable is that to go back and change the original objective and research questions?
No, there is nothing, we can prescribe like that. Depends on the researcher's experience. But you are allowed to do that. You can modify. Yeah, you're allowed to do that.
It won't be unethical or
No, it's not unethical. It's a...
I think, sir, if we don't have any further questions, we will try to end this session now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this morning. I know that it is very tough to get up, especially on weekends when you have this chilling cold.
Yeah.
And but still, even if you are inside your bed, it's okay. That's why we wanted it to be online.
Yeah.
So that even in your bed, you can listen, watch, and ask questions. We look forward to seeing you in the afternoon session and especially tomorrow's session, both in afternoon and in the morning.
Right.
Thank you very much, everybody. Take care. See you again.
Thank you.